everyone wants to shove their own opinion down anyone else's throat. And everyone feels that their opinion is the right opinion, whether it's good, whether it's called for, whether it's necessary, whatever it is.
Today's relationships are very shallow. They don't have any depth in them. It's very hard to find people who are deep.
Our interaction with technology has become so heightened that our interaction with the people around us has become a problem.
मैं बहुत सारे मीडियाज में प्रोजेक्ट करना चाहता हूँ और बहुत सारे कंपटीशन है, बहुत लोग हैं, सभी चाहते हैं आगे बढ़ने के लिए. इसमें थोड़ा क्या हो रहा है, टांग खींचे ये सब चल रहा है.
Why are people so emotionally attached to certain things and then suddenly shows such a huge amount of detachment towards other things who are along the similar line? For example, if you're a North Indian, you would care more about a girl who's been raped from your region than you would care about a girl who's been raped in Kashmir.
I have tons of friends on social media, but I don't have many people that I can actually fall on whenever I need them.
This is a big distraction. What's happening is the overuse. On a personal level, I face the challenge of discipline. I would like to be more disciplined with my work.
मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ, क्या ऐसा कुछ मैजिक है कि इस दुनिया में सब इक्वल हो जाए? कोई गरीब ना रहे, कोई अमीर ना रहे, कोई मिडिल क्लास ना रहे, all are equal.
I really want to know the truth about that. If someone is feeling lonely and has not been able to create good relationships, what should that person do?
I would like to increase my attention span. How can I increase my focus? I really want to know the truth about affirmations. By invoking affirmations, how do we subconsciously reprogram our mind and body?
I really want to know the truth about what young people are actually thinking.
I do not know, it's a tremendous possibility. Only if you see I do not know, the longing to know, seeking to know, and the possibility of knowing arise.
You have seen people who are historically known as great beings. This is all that happened to them. They were living with a limited identification. Suddenly, for some reason, some event broke their identities, and suddenly they identified with a larger process that was happening around, and they did things that they themselves could not imagine. For example, Mahatma Gandhi, he got qualified as a lawyer. I remember what he wrote when he went out to fight his first case in the court in India. He says, I stood up to argue my case and my heart sank into my boots. Does that sound like Mahatma Gandhi? The man just moved millions of people. Just one incident. Suddenly his old identities broke. He went to South Africa to make a living, and he was doing okay as a lawyer. And one day he bought a first-class ticket in a train and got in. When he travelled some distance, in the next station somewhere, a white South African got in, and he didn't like a brown-skinned man sitting in a first class, so he called the ticket collector. So they threw him out of the train. His luggage and everything, they just threw him out. And he fell on the platform. And he just sat there for hours. Why did this happen to me? I bought a first-class ticket. Why am I thrown out of a train? Suddenly he identified with a much larger problem that existed, and he became a colossus. Just broke that little identification and moved into a much larger identity. Probably there has never been another man on this planet who moved as many people as Mahatma Gandhi moved, with such simple ways. Never before another conquering force on the planet has been made to vacate the land where they had taken root without firing bullets at them or killing them or anything like this. See, shooting at the soldiers who are carrying guns is one thing. Throwing bombs at them is another thing. But just going there, standing on the street and willing to be beaten down on the heads with cracked skulls, you fall down, one line of people fall down, the next line of people come and give their skulls to be broken again, is a completely different kind of strength. Not easy. It takes a very deep inner strength for a person to do that. And that's what he managed to do. And all that happened to him was from his small identity of himself and his family and wanting to make a living, his identity just exploded, identifying with the larger problem of the people that was there at that time.
Sufficient intelligence has already flowered in you. It doesn't matter what kind of a fool you are. Sufficient intelligence has already flowered within you. If I ask you, do you want to be miserable or blissful, there is no second thought as to what is your choice. That much intelligence has flowered. That means you're good enough. That means sufficient evolution has happened. If you did not even know that, then yes, we need to work on your tail, not on your head. So people chose different ways to exercise this choice. The different means that were used are just this. We have been continuously saying this, these are the only choices that you have. You can do it either out of your action, when your action is no more about you, simply doing something. One can know bliss in that, or one can know this out of devotion. When your life itself is no more about you, you're completely absorbed into someone or something, then you can know this. Or your intellect has become absolute choice, your mind has become absolute choice. It takes instructions from you every moment of your life. You have disciplined your mind in such a way, it will not generate one thought that you don't want. Then you can become blissful. Or you transformed your very energies. You got your energy into the right kind of intensity where the amrita in the system, the ambrosia of life which is stored in certain parts of your body opened up and your very body, your very energy, your every cell in your body became sweet. That's all you have. Karma, Kriya, Jnana, Bhakti. These are the only 4 ways. Do it some way, whichever way. It's best that we employ all the 4 of them. Just in case, if your love fails, let your Kriya work. If your Kriya fails, let your karma work. If your karma fails, let your jnana work. Let something happen. Do not use your intelligence in mediocre ways. It once happened. A few young boys caught a butterfly, a centipede, a beetle and a grasshopper. They took the wings of the butterfly and put it on the centipede, cut his legs off and put the grasshopper's legs, and cut the beetle's head and put it in the front, then created a strange creature and took it to a naturalist who was in the neighborhood with very innocent faces, just like you do. Some of you do this when you come and sit in front of me. With very innocent faces, They went and presented this to the naturalist and said, "We found this strange insect. Please tell us what this is." The naturalist examined it very carefully and said, "Oh, you just got a humbug." This is the whole problem. This is the whole problem, that your mind and your intellect is busy creating a humbug. With humbug, you don't get anywhere, okay? If you crawl like a centipede, you may get somewhere. If you hop like a grasshopper, you may hop around, not going very far, but still you may get somewhere. But if you become a humbug, you don't get anywhere. That's the first and foremost thing that you have to get rid of. Why there has been such a significant stress on love is just because of this, because you can get rid of the humbug, that strange creature within you which doesn't fit into any definition, which keeps changing, every day. It changes its tack and its tricks on a daily basis. This humbug won't get anywhere because this is not the work for a naturalist. This is not natural, you know. The humbug that you create within yourself is not natural. It is your nature that you can choose. And if you choose, choice means conscious. If you consciously choose, bliss will be your natural way of being. It is not something that's hanging up in the sky. If you choose, your choice will definitely be blissfulness. That will be your natural way. But this humbug, this creature that you have created, this humbug, you have to deal with it. So what should I do with it? There is nothing to do with the damn thing, because it's made up by you. There's nothing to do, it just needs to be discarded. What is there to deal with it? There's nothing to deal with it. You need to understand this. In the East, if you look back in the history of this Eastern cultures all over Asia, steeped in spiritual processes, thousands of years ago, when the rest of the world was still behaving like wild animals, they were in heights, peaks of intellect. Even at that time, though they developed music, mathematics, astronomy, cosmology, never ever there has been a subject called psychology. Because whatever kind of humbug you brought in front of an enlightened being, he just discarded it. He never paid attention to it. No, my humbug is different. It doesn't matter. It's your making. There is nothing to examine, it's your making. Whether you add grasshopper's legs or you put elephant's legs to it, what is there to examine? It's a distortion of life. So they never ever developed anything called as psychology or psychiatry because they were not interested in examining your humbug. There is no need to waste time trying to know the humbug, because It is just a false creation. You set your emotions right. Bring some love into your heart. Love is not a relationship. The relationships that people are building are mostly an escape from themselves. If you're alone, most people on this planet cannot be even alone for a day by themselves. Most people, because they have become such humbugs. They cannot be with themselves for an hour, probably they'll go crazy. See, when you're alone, if you suffer loneliness, that means you're in bad company, isn't it? Isn't it so? When you're in bad company, naturally you seek some other company which you think is good company. So most relationships are being formed in the world because people are in bad company when they're with themselves. They want to escape this humbug. To escape this humbug, they're forming a relationship. And they underestimated the other humbug. Generally, most people underestimate the other humbug. This is not happening because you made this being so blissful. Now, you want to share this. If this being has become blissful, relationships will not happen as an escape, as a relief from yourself. A relationship is not a relief from your own humbug. A relationship is an opportunity to share your blissfulness, that is, if you've gotten there. Otherwise, it is better you're put in a solitary cell. If you don't know how to be silent, at least suffer the solitary. Because at least you will not humbug the rest of the world. Isn't it a safety measure the world should take? Isn't it the norm in every society? If somebody has an infectious disease, he is quarantined. Is that not a normal thing in any civilized society? No? Isn't it so? Because what is not good for you is definitely not good for anybody. If you are suffering the nonsense of who you are, if you are suffering the humbug that you have created within yourself, at least don't give the bug to others. So that's what love means, that you don't give your humbug to others, you give your sweetness to others. That is why so much insistence on love, that when you meet somebody, whatever humbug you are, the sweetest part of you, only that should touch the other person. The best part of you. You are a humbug, you deal with it because it's your creation. You have no business to present your humbug to anybody else on this planet. That's what love means. Love by itself doesn't mean anything, but it is a wonderful, wonderful stepping stone to become blissful. So if you cannot manage your intellect the way you want it, this you can do. For this you just need a little discipline, that there are certain things that you don't do no matter what. You have to establish this.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. Indians don't know the greatness of this culture. How to bring back the pride, Sadhguru?
I think one thing we have to do is rewrite a more responsible history of what has happened in this land for a long time. Not in the last 3,000 years, not in the 1400 years. What people in this land have done for a long time has to be brought back. In other countries, people are studying this. If you go to… there are Lebanese people, if you study in a school in Lebanon, you will read about how Indian workers, Indian sculptors, Indian elephants, Indian yogis came and built a Phoenician temple 4,300 years ago in Lebanon, which is called as Baalbek, which is a phenomenal temple. 4,300 years ago, some of the foundation stones are over 300 tons, and there is no granite in Lebanon. They transported it all the way from Egypt, across the canal and up the mountain and put it up there. Indian elephants, workers and sculptors worked. The proof, there is enough proof, but one proof is visually hanging there is lotuses in the ceiling. Indian sculptor has to put a lotus wherever he goes. Where would a Lebanese sculptor have seen a lotus? Obviously, there are no lotuses there. So, how many Indian children forget about children, how many Indian grown-ups have heard about this? No. The Tamil kings went and built Angkor Thom and Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Angkor Thom is the largest religious building on this planet. The intricacy and the engineering, the sheer design and engineering of how these temples are built, if you go and see, you will feel proud of being a human being, because if human beings can think something like this 1,000 years ago and manifest it, it is too much. This was done by the Tamil kings, most of the work done by probably the Tamil labor. From first standard to 12th standard, does any Tamil child even read a line about this in their history book? No. We only read how we were conquered, raped, looted, beaten by other people. Then if there is no pride, why would you want to recreate it? You need to understand this. A culture or a nation is just an idea. When human beings take this on as an identity, attach some pride to it, it burns through one's mind and into his heart. Now he wants to protect it, rise it, keep it clean, keep it wonderful. If you do not build pride into it, then people will want to avoid it. Everybody will want to avoid it. Now, whatever you think is most successful in the world, you will want to imitate that. Today, our idea of success has become purely economic, not aesthetic, it is not intelligence that we value, it is not wisdom that we value, it is not beauty or aesthetics that we value, it is not spiritual attainments that we value. Who is the big man in Coimbatore, if I ask? People will only name the richest man in the town. They will not name the wisest man in town, the most beautiful man in town, most meditative man in town. No, the richest man in town is the biggest man. So who is the biggest whatever? Whichever is the richest nation, whichever is the richest culture, power and money have become the highest goals, which itself is a very rudimentary way of looking at life. Because of that, right now, I promised the American meditators, next 2 years I'm going to invest a lot of time in United States, because knowingly or unknowingly, they have taken on the leadership in the world. Understand? See, if all the American people wear blue workman's clothes, half the world is wearing Americans' workman's clothes. You just go to any city, Mumbai or Chennai or Bangalore especially, you look down below the knees, more than 60% is wearing blue denims. When we have the most intricate weaves, there are over 120 weaves in the country which are unique and many of them are dying. No other culture on the planet has the variety of weaves that India has. All of them will die. Chinese silk is going to kill it unless all of you ladies make at least 20% of your wardrobe into handmade Indian weaves, they will all vanish in the next 10 or 15 years. Why is everybody wearing not even American executives' clothes, American workman's clothes? As if that's not enough, if they tear their trousers, everybody tears their trousers. Yes. It's all torn, but in a very expensive way. Now, if Americans put carbon dioxide in a bottle and drink it, even a kindergarten child knows human body needs oxygen, not carbon dioxide. But because America drinks carbon dioxide and says this is the real thing, more than half the world drinks carbonated water today. If you go to one of the remote villages here, there may be people, not in this area maybe, but anywhere else if you go, they might not have heard the word yoga, but they know what is Coca-Cola. So, I thought if Americans tear their trousers, everybody tears, Americans wear their pants down in their seat, everybody does the same thing, Americans drink carbon dioxide, everybody does that. So I thought if we can get America to meditate, the world will meditate. So, we are doing a little bit of a big push in the next 2 years in United States. We want America to meditate. They're kind of getting ready, they're tired of the carbonated water.
I was, I think just seeing a video of a man who is presently known as Ram Das in the United States, who became a big phenomenon during 70s probably, 60s and 70s, 60s. So he was one of them who was a Harvard University professor experimenting with LSD in a big way. They even manufacturing LSD in Harvard University. They thought this is the way to nirvana. That's when very boldly California started advertising. In India it takes 12 years. Yeah, it just takes quick. Ram Das also traveled to India with his talk of LSD. He's hardcore now, he can pop 2, 3 LSDs in a day. So he came to Neem Karoli Baba, who is a mystic, a tantric of enormous capabilities. And I want you to clear your head about what a tantric is. A man of capability is a tantric. A man who knows no capability, who just knows the book, he is not a tantric, nor is he a guru in any way, nor is he fit to be a guru in any way. So, Neem Karoli Baba is a tantric. He's a huge man, a worshipper of Hanuman. Came to Neem Karoli Baba and said, I got some real stuff from heaven. You take this, everything that's worth knowing opens up. Do you know something about this? Neem Karoli Baba asked, what is that, show me? So he gave him this many. He said, how many do you have, show me? He had that many, which would be, which would last for many days or months for Ram Das. He said, give it to me. So he gave it to him, a whole handful of LSD, he just popped it and swallowed it. And just sat there and continued whatever he was doing. Ram Das was sitting there and hoping that the man is going to explode and die now. But the guy didn't show any signs of LSD in him, he just continued. just to demonstrate to Ramdas, you're just wasting your life on some stupid stuff. That stuff is not going to get you across. So, out of his love for Ramdas, or out of Ramdas's own sincerity and, willingness to receive, a certain dimension definitely descended upon him. Because Ramdas is not Ramdas out of his own capabilities. Ramdas is not Ramdas out of his own sadhana. Ramdas has become Ramdas simply because he did one sensible thing of sitting with a man like Neem Karoli Baba in his and imbibed a certain aspect of that person. And Neem Karoli Baba wanted many windows to open up. So, he created one window and sent it to America.
Our ideas of spirituality has all become about belief systems. Different cultures have established different authorities in the form of books, in the form of divine entities, in the form of gurus, in the form of various teachers. Time has come where authority cannot be the truth. Truth can be the only authority. We have to cultivate our children in this direction. If we don't do this, you have one authority, you respect one authority, I respect another authority, and inevitably we will fight. We are fighting for economic reasons, which is more tangible fight, but we are fighting for divine geography, which is unnecessary. If you are willing to come to this much realization, if we're willing to become at least straight enough in our lives that what we know, what we do not know, we do not know, only then education will happen, true education will happen. Right now, whatever we do not know, we believe. You believe one thing, somebody believes something else, eternal clash is happening. All the fight in the world, though it is being projected as good versus evil, the reality is, it is one man's belief versus another man's belief, endlessly going on, religious or otherwise. In the next couple of decades, the entire world, why can't we do this, that we come to this much understanding, what we know, what we do not know, we do not know. This is not happening because we have not educated our children and adults that I do not know is a tremendous possibility. Only if you see I do not know, the longing to know, the seeking to know, and the possibility of knowing becomes a living reality.
Future seems very hopeful to you? Now you have seen how it is in various places. So, human nature may be same, but still, how it is going to be in the future? Is there any
Prediction. What's going to happen in the future? See, if my whole thing was to make a prediction, then why would we do all this work? It doesn't matter how bleak the situation looks right now, but don't ever underestimate what is in a human heart, what people really want. Don't underestimate that. In 10 years' time, the whole world may just be changed into a complete different possibility, It is just that people need sufficient poking to get them going. But when they get going, you don't know what they can do. They can do something that's never happened on the planet till now, isn't it so? So, don't try to predict future. See what kind of future do you want to create. Why are we always trying to predict future? I want you to set a goal. Before I die, I want to leave the world at least this much better. Wouldn't that be better? Instead of predicting future, why don't you set a goal for yourself? Before I leave this world, I will make it at least this good. If all of us set a goal like that, definitely there's a wonderful future ahead. We are hoping from the stars some guidance will come. Stars are dumb, inanimate rocks. Okay. You are supposed to have brains and intelligence. They don't have all that. They're just far away, but they're just dumb, unintelligent rocks, isn't it so? Just because they are far away, we don't have to attach such importance to them. They are not guiding our lives. Human destiny is in human hands. How we handle it, that's what it will become. If we handle it sensibly, definitely there's a wonderful tomorrow. If we handle it foolishly, definitely there's going to be a terrible tomorrow. Predict. Predictions means an insult to humanity. All predictions are a terrible insult to humanity, isn't it? Isn't it so? That means there is no value for what a human being is. All this nonsense is happening simply because you have not realized the immensity of being human. How big it is to be a human being, it's not been realized. The very wonderful stories in India you must have heard. In India there are stories like this. Gods have any problems, they get into trouble. They will come down to meet the sages and saints for advice and consultancy. You know that? This is just to tell you, a human being can raise himself to such a stage that even the gods will have to seek advice from him. Just to tell you the immensity of being human, what it means. If you realize the immensity of being a human being, then you won't predict, you will create. You just have to create, not predict.
When I spoke at the United Nations, I said, yoga is not an Indian thing. Some people who believe they are more Indian than me. I think I look very Indian, do I? I'm dressed Indian and I look Indian and I'm Indian, all right. But they think they're more Indian than me. So they're very offended. I said, yoga is not an Indian thing. And I said, yoga is a gift from India to the world, but it cannot belong to India. If yoga is Indian, then somebody will claim gravity is European. Then what do? Will you float? A particular science might have been discovered and explored in a certain culture. That doesn't make a science into a culture. For all these people who are tweeting a lot about yoga, I hope they will get up in the morning and do their yoga. Because if you really want to make yoga Indian, the 1 billion Indians must get up in the morning and do yoga, then it'll become Indian. Anybody walks into India and they see the entire country is doing yoga, people will say, wow, this is an Indian thing, Indian phenomena. Then they may also pick it up, it may become an international phenomena. No, they're not doing yoga, they're just tweeting about yoga. Our Honorable Prime Minister is lying down on the street and doing yoga with children, with common people, with the police, with the army. He is doing yoga lying down on the street. Which world leader is doing anything like that in the interest of the well-being of the citizens of the nation? But they are not inspired to do yoga. They are sitting and tweeting against me, heaping abuse on me. I am working 7 days of the week, thousands of our volunteers are working 7 days of the week to make sure every person in India does yoga. Around the world we're doing, but in India it's much more concentrated, the work. Town to town, village to village, our volunteers are traveling tirelessly, trying to bring yoga to every human being. Many things are not settled in the lives of people in that part of the world, but at least they must know some inner well-being. So we are working towards that. The very fact that United Nations declared International Yoga Day because they recognized it is beyond cultural boundaries, it is beyond national identities, it is beyond religious identities, it is a science for human well-being. Only because they identified that, they declared International Yoga Day. So all the tweeting birds, I want you to understand, if you really want people to look up to India for this contribution that India has made to the world, what you should do is, you must make sure the 1 billion and odd Indian people are doing yoga every day. If we do this, then slowly it will generate a few, at least a handful of truly profound beings. Profoundness of experience and profoundness of knowing. When such beings come up, the entire world will look up to India for sure. Why will they not? If you don't do it soon enough, they may come up elsewhere and people will look up. Wherever there is profound experience, wherever there is profound knowing, people will look in that direction. Before it happens in America, you better do it in India.
Look, I have to congratulate you. You made it through a deep, unfiltered video. That takes attention, openness, and courage. So leave your city in the comments, or share a quote that stuck with you. If you feel this could help someone, send it their way. Thank you, Big Hug, and until next time.